thank you for letting me share that. Thanks, guys. So if you are joining us tonight, you are joining us in week 4 of the I Have series, which is all about self-worth, self-esteem and significance. And tonight I get the privilege of sharing about body image and perspective in the way that we see ourselves. So the first thing that I want to talk about tonight is actually the word comparison. And for me, when I was younger, comparison was an absolute killer. Hands up in the room who's ever compared themselves to someone else, right? We all know, we all do it. Every day we're probably looking at ourselves thinking, you know, that person's better or they're wearing something different. The word comparison, I actually did a bit of a study on the word comparison, and do you know what? The explanation in the dictionary actually talks about comparison as an estimate. Now, I don't know if you've ever done guesstimate cooking, but it doesn't work out so well. Whenever I estimate stuff in cooking, I can't cook at the best of times, but when I start guessing recipes and putting extra bits of this and that in and not measuring things correctly, it actually all goes wrong. And for me, comparison and comparing myself to other people was something that I really struggled with. I felt like that was something that I couldn't move through, and it's an absolute killer. And when we're looking at ourselves and we're comparing ourselves to other people, we're actually just guessing. You know, it's not normally reality, the things that we happen to think at the time, but it's this estimate, it's this guess of whether or not we compare. And sometimes I've asked myself the question over my journey of you know, my self-esteem and my body image, why do we feel this way? Why do we feel the need to actually compare ourselves to one another? Is it human nature? Is it something that someone invented one day and thought would be a really good idea to make us really feel awesome about ourselves? You know, why do we compare ourselves? And one of the things that I think is a reason why we compare ourselves is because we're actually taught to. There are, you know, media images, there are stories, there are things that we see every single day of our lives that actually teach us to compare ourselves to one another, because they want, you know, the media want you to buy certain products or look a certain way because they're actually going to make money off you if you do that. But they don't actually have a vested interest in the way that you see yourself. They're just selling a product or selling a particular image. And what I'm going to show you is just a series of a couple of images of some popular celebrities that you would probably know, and you can probably guess them, but I'm actually going to show you 2 different pictures. One is a picture of them in everyday life, and then the other one is them after a photoshopped image. So I'm going to go through these pretty quickly. Now, most of you would know who this is, yeah? No. Kim Kardashian, right? So picture on the left is how she woke up in the morning, and after 5.5 hours of professional hair and makeup, this is what she looks like on a runway. Everyone get the comparison? Fantastic. So I look at that image on the left and I go, yeah, that's pretty much what I look like every day. I just put on my clothes. I don't, you know, dress up to the nines. I don't have $1 million to make myself look pretty, and I get up and go to work. But we look at these images on the runway and we think somehow that should be us. We compare ourselves and we go, oh, that's really pretty. Maybe I could try and look like that tomorrow at work. Well, you're not on the red carpet. You kind of don't need to do that. This is another one. This is obviously Beyonce. Everyone knows what Beyonce looks like. This is an image of her actually posing for a particular photo shoot. That is a normal standard image on the left. Now, this is her face after they just do about 36,000 changes in Photoshop. Now, just looking at that image, you'll be able to see that there are all kinds of face changes, there are tone changes. They've just kind of got a nice brush and gone, we're going to smooth all of this out. She's not going to have any wrinkles, she's not going to have anything, because we're going to make her look picture perfect.
Airbrush.
Airbrush is amazing, and what we don't see is the before images, we see the after, and we have this idea in our minds that all of a sudden we're supposed to look like the picture on the right. I found this one absolutely fascinating. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but this is a comparison of the exact same photo in 2 different magazines. What the heck? How can she be 2 different skin tones in 2 different magazines? They literally just pick and choose. They go, we want you to look brown, we want you to look lighter, we'll just make you what we want you to be, and then that's the images that we see. And I think sometimes we forget, or at least I do anyway. Sometimes when I'm flicking through the magazine and someone's in a nice bikini or someone looks amazing on the front cover, I get in this habit of comparing myself, you know, and making myself think this is what I should look like, when these images are actually unrealistic, they're not achievable. I find this one fascinating. This is Megan Fox, Transformers, right? This is her image on the left and her on the right is after Photoshop. What happened to her hair? They just cut it off. She doesn't need hair on her shoulder. Let's make it a bit more skinnier. They've actually moved her hips so that she doesn't have any. So you can see there the bracelet kind of drags over her hip zone, and on this one it's like not even on her hips. I don't know if you can see that because it's a white photo. But it's pretty incredible the changes that we make, but somehow we feel like these are normal images that we should make ourselves look like. This is George Clooney. For those that are asking the question, does this affect men? Absolutely. You guys are in the same boat. You see, you know, hot ripped males that are on the front of things and you think, oh, maybe I should get in the gym 12 hours a day and look like that.
He still looks beautiful.
He still looks beautiful, doesn't he?
Not fair.
It's George Clooney though, so pretty sure he can look good most of the time. And I find myself asking the question, how can we actually compare ourselves? You know, I do lots of different, I share my journey in lots of different places. I've spoken in high schools and I speak in different places to young women, and I actually ask this question every time and nobody can really give us the answer because we can't compare ourselves to these people because we don't have the ability to put ourselves in Photoshop and put ourselves on the front cover of a magazine. But that's the images that we see every single day. So ultimately, after looking at the word comparison, this estimate of ourselves, I come across this photo by Theodore Roosevelt. Comparison is the thief of joy, and I absolutely believe that with all my heart. If we're comparing ourselves against people, that's just going to steal your happiness and steal your joy every time, because there's no way that you can compare yourself to other people and end up looking and feeling good after that comparison. I just want to share a couple of statistics with you because these frighten me. 68% of adults edit their selfies before sharing them. Who in this room edits your selfies before you share them? I posted a photo just a couple of days ago and the first thing I did was put a filter on. I'm like, the background looks way better with the filter. Come on, we know, we love it, right? But nearly 70% of the population does that before they share photos. 13% of women say they've retouched every selfie. What? Who has time in their day to retouch every selfie? I don't even have time to do like 1 or 2 retouches, but there are people out there that make a living out of retouching their selfie, which means that every single time they share a photo of themselves, that they don't think that they're beautiful and that they feel like they need to change it, and that's pretty scary. 78% of 17-year-old girls are unhappy with their body. Ugh, that one makes me frustrated. Because I think really, nearly all of us as young women at that age don't like the way that we look. Don't like the way that we see ourselves in the mirror.
I mean, there's a slide that doesn't help it. You put in your age and your weight and it tells you if you're overweight for the standard of your age.
Yeah. So
but
you're talking about your BMI?
Yeah, they don't even take into account your height or anything.
Yeah.
My sister was doing that for a project and she put in mine and apparently I'm overweight, but who cares?
Yeah, so there are lots and lots of measurement tools out there that we can jump online and we can, you know, check out if we're in the right category. Now, obviously, healthy weight range is important, you know, being healthy as a person. I'm a big believer in that, but there's this perception out there that we have to be perfect and that perfection isn't who we are. Like, we're not already perfect the way that we are, and we have to change so many things to feel like we have to fit in with what everyone else is doing. And I think that the comparison that we do at times just absolutely wrecks us, and it left me feeling like, you know, I wasn't good enough as a person. I don't know how it makes you guys feel, but that's definitely where it left me. And then the last one, 30% of high school girls and 16% of high school boys have an eating disorder. That is scary. They are some scary statistics. And I'm left asking myself, what are we doing about it? Who's challenging this? Who's challenging this idea of everybody's got to be perfect and, you know, we've got to look a certain way, or we've got to be a certain person, or got to have a certain skin tone, you know, to be perfect? Why is it that we're making this image in our mind of what we should look like? And there's a really big question out there, and I see this in youth work, I see this in the corporate world. There are so many people asking the question about the impact that social media has on people in general and the way that we see ourselves. And there's a really cool video that I was going to play. We won't have time to play it tonight, but I'll pop it in the comments in the video so you guys can check it out after. It's just a really cool video done about Instagram and social media and how that impacts the way that we see ourselves. Because I think it's really important to understand that social media can be really powerful in a good way. Like, social media can actually connect us, and it has heaps of benefits, but then at the same time we've just got to be careful on how we use it and not to get too extreme with it. So I was asking the question before about how to change this idea that, you know, if we're not this particular thing, then we're not perfect and we're not good enough. And one of the things that I found, particularly in high school when I was growing up, it's hopefully a story that all the guys will appreciate as well as the girls. body image is something that we all struggle with, yeah? It's something that every single one of us asks the question about at some stage. And I was a bit of a late developer, so when I was in high school, all of my friends seemed to get boobs when they were in grade 6, and I'm talking massive boobs, right? And I just didn't get that, and I felt so like, why don't I fit in with my group of friends? And I probably didn't, develop and get boobs till I was in year 10. And I thought there was something wrong with me. I was like, why do all my friends look a certain way? And I look different, and for some reason, I looked at guys and the way that they looked at girls and looked at my friends, and I made this concept in my head that you weren't attractive unless you looked a certain way. Guys wouldn't want to be with you, or they wouldn't want to ask you out if you didn't look a particular way. And for some reason, I don't know, I thought that boobs were the answer. I was like, why can't I just have massive boobies? That would solve all my problems. Like, why are you thinking like that? That's crazy. And isn't it amazing how there's one thing that we don't like about ourselves, and all of a sudden that's got us asking the question of whether we're even good enough as a person? Like, it's just one body part. I could have picked the fact that I have big feet, and sometimes that really annoys me because I can't buy high heels. But then I go for a marathon run, I'm thinking, I need these feet. I really need these feet. But somehow, and you've probably done that as well. You've probably had some part of your body that you go, I just don't like this. But instead of it being just something that you don't like about yourself, you've actually turned that into, well, that makes me not good enough as a person. And I couldn't believe how influential that was when I was in high school. Made me feel like I wasn't good enough just because I didn't have a particular body type. And it absolutely wrecked my self-esteem. It was this one thing. It seemed, at the time, I thought it was such a small thing, but when I look back, I go, that was so significant in my journey. Like, it actually made me believe I was worthless because I didn't have a particular thing. And I think we can all fall into that same trap. One of the things that I want to show you guys tonight is about a mirror. So can I get my 2 volunteers to come up the front? I'm just going to do a quick activity with you guys.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
I've called it seeing or believing, right? So we have a nice circular mirror here. Everyone come on. Sorry, did I blind you with the projector light? Yeah. That's the best.
Yes!
I'm just gonna close that for a second. Phil, can you stand over that side? I won't shine it towards the guys filming then. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to hold up this mirror, if I can hold it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to describe a particular day. So I'm going to tell one of the guys one at a time, I'm going to describe the day that they're having. As a result of the day that I'm describing, I want them to then look in the mirror, tell me how they're feeling as a result of that. So Phil, you're going to go first, right? So Alex can just chill out in the background right now. These are my 2, give him a hand, guys. So Phil, before I show you the mirror, I'm just going to describe the day that you're having, right? So you've woken up, it's an amazing day, the sun is shining, you're thinking, I'm absolutely going to smash it today. My hair is like perfect, it's just working for me. Don't I look amazing? Like you feel great today. Today's just a really good day. You think you're going to smash it at work, you're going to have a fantastic day, you're going to hang out with Calvin. Life is good, right? You might even have an early day, you might go to the beach at the end of the day on your Harley, because life is just looking really great, right? So when you look in the mirror on a morning like that,
who's that guy?
On a morning like that, what do you...
Just lift it up a bit, it's looking at my boobs more than my face.
What do you feel? What are you thinking when you look in the mirror?
I'm looking and I'm thinking, yeah, George Clooney, Brad Pitt.
No way. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I'm looking at that thinking, yeah, I am a plus-size male model. I'm feeling pretty good. Oh, I've got a Sharpie haircut. Yeah. I've got my, what do you call those eyes? Raccoon eyes on. Yeah, I'm looking good for a guy at 60. I'm looking all right.
Fantastic. Good job. Give him a hand, guys. Alex, come on over. All right, now Alex, before I show you the mirror, you've woken up to that. Today's just not a good day. You know when you have one of those days, your alarm clock's gone off early, you're already pissed off, really angry at the world, someone's SMS'd you overnight and they've said something, really nasty to you, and you've woken up and you're just thinking, today's just not a good day. You're trying to get up, you're trying to get ready for work or for the day, you're running late, everything's just not working, and you tried to do your hair, but your hair's just not working for you. You know those days, when our hair's just not working. Bad hair days. Those bad hair days. I want you to look into the mirror and tell me how you're going to feel when you look at the mirror on a day like that.
My hair's too long. Just having really tough days. why is this day happening to me?
Good job. Excellent effort. Thank you. You can give our wonderful volunteers another clap.
Beautiful system.
Excellent effort. Excellent effort, guys. You can take a seat. Now, I don't know about you guys, but the mirror to me is, I've always seen it as my enemy, right? I've always seen a mirror as something that is just not something that I always want to look at, because I know the things that I don't like about myself before I even look in the mirror. Why do I need a mirror to tell me that sort of stuff, right? Now, when you actually look into a mirror, and I've learnt this recently, and I don't know if it's something that you guys have ever thought about before, but when you look into a mirror, sometimes we can be deceived about what we're looking at and what comes back at us. And that the trick with a mirror is that it doesn't show us what we actually see, it shows us what we already believe. I'll say that again. A mirror doesn't show you what you actually are seeing, it shows you what you already believe. So those guys were a brilliant example, a very hilarious example, of when you look into a mirror and you're having a great day, you're on top of the world. The world can't slow you down. You know, everything's working, and when you look into a mirror's just going to tell you that same thing because you already believe it. And it's the same for negativity. Every time you look in the mirror, if you're in a negative space and you already don't like things about you and you're already having a bad day, when you look in that mirror, it's only going to reveal what you already believe about yourself. So to look into a mirror, sometimes we expect it to give us a different reality. We feel really not that great on the inside, but we look at a mirror thinking the mirror is going to make us feel awesome. No, it's not. It's just going to show you what you already believe. And that's what it did for me. I already believed that I wasn't a good person, that I didn't look great. And when I looked in the mirror, that's exactly what it taught me. And over the years, I've learnt to look into the mirror differently, knowing that if I'm not feeling the greatest when I'm looking in a mirror, then I'm asking the wrong question. Instead of looking in the mirror trying to feel better, I should be having a look at maybe what's going on in my life that's making me feel that way, because a mirror is just going to show me what I already know. It's not going to create anything new for me. And I think we have the wrong expectation of our own reflection. Sometimes I think we can ask it to try and change us. Maybe if this is different or that is different, but unfortunately it's just going to reflect back to you what you already believe. And that was really helpful for me to learn, and I hope that helps you tonight as well. I've got one more activity that I want to do, and I'm going to invite my volunteer up to the front, please. You know who you are. Come on down.
Yay!
Sieve, right? It's a normal cooking sieve, one that you would use in a kitchen. In fact, it's my sieve from my kitchen. One of the biggest challenges for me, and I don't know how you guys find this, but whenever I think things in my mind, whenever I see things, it goes through a filter in my mind. So like I was explaining before, when you have a filter that's negative already and you look into a mirror, it's just going to show you what you already think. And that's a bit like the way that our mind can work at times. So I'm just going to put this lovely sieve on George's head. Really, it should be that way, but otherwise it'll fall off if I do that. So imagine for a second, if you can stay with me, imagine your mind as a sieve, right? And there's all of these things that happen to you throughout a day, all of these images that you see, all these people that you talk to, all of these activities that you go and do. You look amazing. And this all comes in towards you, you know, whatever you're seeing, whatever you're hearing, whatever you're experiencing throughout a day is all coming at you. Depending on what your filter is like, depending on what your sieve is like, will ultimately determine what you think and what you feel. Because if you're in a place where your sieve is awesome, then when you put all the stuff in, like when you use pasta, for example, if it's up that way, and you're putting all this stuff of the day in the top, if you're, let's say your sieve is rotten, it smells funny, right? Then all the stuff coming, yes please, all the stuff coming out the bottom end, you know, when you smush pasta and all the goo comes out, that's exactly what it's going to be like in your mind. No matter how much, you know, encouraging stuff is around you, no matter how much is going in, if your sieve is not good, if your mind is not good, the stuff coming out the bottom is going to be not the greatest either. And that's how I find it. If I'm not in the right headspace, if I'm not in the right mindset, whatever happens to me throughout a day can ultimately end up in the bad basket anyway because of where I was when I started the day. And that's exactly how I think we see ourselves at times, is that sometimes people can, you know, come up to us and give us a compliment. What's the first thing we do?
Oh, thanks.
Not
So
every time.
Not really.
We disagree with it. If we're in a space of not believing that about ourselves, we diss the person. We go, oh, totally not happening. No, I don't look like that. You know, I've seen people so many times throughout the last couple of weeks come up to someone and go, you look amazing today in that dress or that suit or that whatever. And the person just goes, no, I don't. Are you serious? The first thing I was taught to do when it came to my body image is just say thank you. Saying thank you is starting a process of believing something different. And tonight, that's what I really hope for you guys, is that as a result of some of the stuff that you're learning tonight, that you see yourself differently. Instead of comparing yourself to this perfect picture, that we actually just need to change our sieve. We just need to take this and we need to put it in a dishwasher and give it a good wash and then put it back on and and then put it back on, and maybe we might see ourselves a little bit differently. Thank you, Georgia. You can take a seat. Thank you, big person. One of the greatest questions that I think I asked myself in my entire body image journey was whether or not I was good enough as a person. Because for some reason, the way that we see ourselves and the way that we see our body, it takes us to a place of believing that we're not good enough as a person. Like I said before, I took that one thing that I didn't think was good enough in my body image, and it made me feel bad as a person. It made me feel like I was inadequate, that I wasn't enough. I keep looking in magazines and seeing all these pictures of beautiful women, and I think, why can't I be like that? And why should I be like that? Is a question that I end up asking myself, because I think, am I not good enough as Beck Mitchell? Like, do I have to have a certain coloured skin, or do I have to have a certain skill set, or do I have to be, taller than I am and blonde and, be a certain size or shape or whatever? Can I not just be me? And I don't know if you've ever asked yourself that question either. Can you not just be okay as you are, rather than feeling like you have to be somebody else? And it almost annoys me that I feel like I have to be different. When someone explains that to me in media or whatever it is, whatever I'm seeing, even if it's a silly Instagram filter, when I see that and my mind says you should be like that, I get frustrated and I think, why? Why can't I just be me? Isn't that enough? And what I wanted to share with you guys tonight, out of my journey and my experience, is that learning that you are enough is one of the most powerful things that you'll do for yourself. Because it changed my life, learning that I didn't have to be somebody that I wasn't. It absolutely changed my life. And I had to do a lot of years of tough journey to understand that I was enough as a person. And that's what I would absolutely love for you guys to walk away feeling like tonight, is that you shouldn't have to compare yourself to all of these images that you see. You shouldn't have to feel like you have to be a different person. Why can't you just be enough as you are? Because that's what I believe. I look around the room tonight and I just see a room full of amazing people that I love and care about. You guys are sensational, but for some reason we feel like we have to be somebody else in order to be good enough as a person, and I think it's crap and we should do something about that. Because it nearly wrecked my life. It just wrecked me on the inside, feeling like I was never good enough, and that's not okay. That's not okay that you guys should be in this room tonight feeling like you're not enough as a person just because of some stupid image. Whew. You guys, I love you, Beck. You guys are enough just as you are. I'm looking around the room through tears. I'm looking around the room at beautiful people that I know, that I get to spend every single day of my life hanging out with.
You need a hug?
No, I'm good. I'll get a hug after I'm done. And all I see is beautiful people. All I see is incredible people that have dreams and visions and hope for your future. And you get sidelined by all this shit that tries to take you out at times. And I think, enough already. You're enough. Stop feeling like you should be a different person. The person that you are here in this room tonight is the person that you need to be. You don't need to wear certain clothes. You don't need to be a certain body shape. You don't need to change a freaking thing about you, because who you are in this room tonight is what matters. And that's all that you need to bring. You don't need to feel like you have to bring more than that, because who you are is enough. And it took me 15 years to work that out, that who I was enough, that it didn't matter that I had big feet and couldn't wear nice high heels. It doesn't freaking matter. And even if I put them on and I'm 6'5" and I'm towering over you, I don't care, because it's who I am. I should be allowed to wear heels just like the next person. I went and went to one of the retreats and we had Liz Cambridge come and she presented. She was like 6'8". I said, how do you wear heels? That was my only question I had for her, was how the heck do you get away with wearing heels? Because for some reason we feel like all of these things that could actually be the greatest about ourselves, we don't like. And then it makes us feel crap as a person. And we draw a conclusion between this thing that I don't like and now I'm crap as a person, I'm no good. And it's not true. I believed it for so many years. And then I found freedom from it, and it was one of the best choices that I ever made, to do that journey and to figure out who I was and to figure out who I am is enough. And to go through that journey and come out the other side and go, you know what? I matter. You matter. And you matter just the way you are. You don't have to achieve a certain academic thing in high school. You know, you don't have to get a certain NTAR score or ATAR score, whatever the heck it is you call it these days. It was different when I was at school. Saying that makes me feel old.
Not old. Not that old.
But I want you to walk away from tonight knowing that exactly how you are. You don't need to change it. You don't need to change one strand of hair on your head to be different and to be like somebody else, and for that to be any different to what you are right now. Who you are sitting in this room right now in this moment is enough. You don't need to add anything to that. You're perfect just the way you are. I had an experience the other day. I just want to share a really quick story before I finish up. I had an experience the other day, and this is one of the moments that I absolutely love. I don't need to feel like I have to be a certain shape anymore. I've kind of just got used to me, and I'm okay with that, and I really love that about that sort of whole journey, is that I feel a bit more free in that now. I feel like I can have whatever style clothing that I want, or that I can be whatever shape and I'm okay, and I really like that. I haven't arrived by any means, but I do feel quite confident in me and my body and who I am now. And I had one of these moments the other day, and I think you'll all appreciate it. I put on a pair of jeans, I put on these really cool white runners, and then I put on this hoodie, and I kind of felt a little bit bogany. But I checked myself out in the mirror. I was like, damn girl, you're so hot!
Hell yeah.
And it was such a weird moment, because even though, you know, I could have walked down the street and someone would have just been like, oh, there's a bogan in a hoodie in Lilydale, I actually felt amazing, right? Because it wasn't about the mirror. Like I said before, I was looking in a mirror and I was checking out my own reflection and I was checking myself out, you know. But the whole point was I felt great on the inside, and I feel free from that now. I don't feel like I have to be a certain way to be good enough. I don't feel like I should have to fit in with somebody else and what they want. I can just be me, and that's enough. And I had one of those little moments, and my hope for you is that you can have those as well, because I think all of us can get to that point where we can experience those really cool moments where, you know, we're walking down the street and we see ourselves in a mirror, in a window, and we go, yeah, that's me! You know those moments when you check yourself out in like a shopping window because you think you look good and everyone else on the inside is going, that person's checking themselves out? I do that all the time, and then I pretend I'm not doing it. We all do it. But imagine if we could have that feeling every single day of our life. That we could put on whatever clothes that we wanted, that we could dress whichever way we wanted, that we could create whichever part of our personality and accentuate it that day because we just can, and it'd be okay. That was a moment, believe it or not, that tiny little moment of seeing myself in those jeans and that hoodie the other day, it made me feel like I've got this. You know, I'm really working this out. And my hope is that you can do that too. And at the end of the day, I think it starts with seeing yourself differently. And I started with that slide. I said I wanted you to see yourself differently as a result of sitting here tonight. If only you could see what we see. I share with people all the time about, I see you differently to how you see you. People come and they chat to me about what's going on in their world, and I go, I just don't see that. Because I see this beautiful, amazing, incredible person, and you're sharing your world with me, but I see that issue of 5% of who you are, and there's 95% of you that I think you're amazing. Why don't we just focus on the 95% that's amazing, and we'll come back to that other 5% later. Because I see you differently to how you see you. And it changed my life when I saw that. All I want to do is finish tonight by just saying thank you for listening to my story tonight and hearing me share and being with us online. And I have a little card that I just wanted to hand out. It was on the screen before, but ultimately if you take anything away from tonight and my story and my journey, the only 3 words that I want you to remember is that you are enough. And that's all I've printed out tonight, is just one simple card that says you are enough. And no matter what you do this week, I'm just going to pass those around. No matter what you do this week, no matter who, tells you that you should be this or be that, or pick on you for whatever it is that you're wearing or that you look like, any of those situations this week make you feel like you're not enough, I want you to look at that card. I want you to put that somewhere that's going to remind you that you are enough just as you are. Like right now, you don't have to change a thing to feel like you should be good enough for other people, because you are beautiful and you're amazing just the way that you are. And it took me a long time to learn that, and now that I have, I can't wait to help other people see that same thing in themselves. So please remember that you are enough, and I love you just the way you are. Have a fantastic night, Impacts, and thank you so much.
We love you, girls.
Thank you very much.
Yay.